Hey, well, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fine. I am fine. So, welcome back to the Echoes of the Shadows podcast, where venture of the unknown and explore the mysteries of that lingers in the darkness, in the corners of reality. I'm your host, Chris O'Toole, and this is my co-host, Gwen Johnson, and producer. I said Johnson.
It's
I'm sorry,
yeah,
John. Like,
okay.
look, I know what your name is. I just messed it up. You know,
It's okay.
that's all right. That's
Yeah.
okay.
And I'm
Yeah.
Gwen Johns. And I'm here to help navigate tonight's journey into the eerie and unexplained. As always, we're thrilled to have everybody here, no matter where you're from. And let's get going.
Absolutely. So our tonight's episode, we're gonna take even a deeper into strange and uncharted kind of land here. So our guest has spent his lifetime at the intersection of art, science, and the supernatural. Now, our friend, my friend, but his name is JC. And JC was a Navy hospital corpsman. He's a veteran musician, photographer, explorer both cosmos and the paranormal, and he's a researcher and someone who has been at the right place at the right time to witness the inexplicable. James has documented over 200 hauntings, observed UAPs, and even captured stunning images of natural phenomena like lighting and tornadoes. His work spans the mystical of the scientific and blending the rigorous research with an open mind.
Not only that, but James is also an unpublished horror author and creative mind behind a cartoon series that's inspired by cult classics like Police Academy and Super Troopers. He's a jack of all trades and comes to uncovering the extraordinary. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, he's cool. He really is. Um, I've known him for quite some time. We're both musicians, and it's so funny how JC and I came back. You know, how we just kind of revolved right back. To our graces of friendship and all
That's
that.
awesome.
It's really cool. It's really cool. We've
And here is him.
awesome.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing all right, doing all right. Wife wants
Uh,
some coffee real fast, so I'm running to get some coffee. So, right, right. Y'all can hear me pretty good.
no,
Yes.
absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. So basically, I have a background in UAPs. Um, Pretty much, like I said, right place, right time, all the time. I'm usually, if I'm looking, I see them, and I use infrared photography. Actually, I use all types of technology. I have a really cool thing. It picks up sound from basically vibrational frequencies, and I got this. It's called a Gruschenberger or whatever it's called, a Gushigong. It's a sound device which allows you to basically hear EMFs, which is really cool. So when you're outside, when I do lightning photography, I catch a lot of this. It's kind of like listening to the static on the radio, that old thing. But what it is, it's really louder, and basically, I've actually when I've seen these whatever they're called UAPs, plasmoids, whatever in the sky, I've actually have caught audio of these things and everything. The only problem is with this Gutenberger thing is hard to record on it. So I'm in the process of still trying to get that to work correctly. But when I do lightning storms all the time, I use this thing and I use a radio and everything. And I've been doing that for like about close to 2 years using that device, which is really interesting.
And his
Um,
photography is phenomenal when it comes to the lightning. I mean, like
I get
seriously.
into the danger zone, like seriously the danger zone. I've almost been struck so many times. It's ridiculous. I The closest I've ever been struck is probably where I had my camera on the tripod, and it was like about a year and a half ago actually, and I walked out there right before the lightning struck the camera, and it knocked me back. It knocked me back pretty far, and my hair was sticking up, and it was pretty crazy. People think I'm like a danger nut or something like that, but and I'm not. It's just I'm totally attracted to the science of everything, and pretty much the paranormal, you could say. I've been doing it since probably I began crawling. So the thing about it is that I've lived in hauntings. I've lived in, when I say I lived in hauntings, you've heard of the Newport in Crosby, Texas. I lived in that. There's so much. I mean, my brain would be crazy to pick at and everything.
So let me kind of tell you about the Newport subdivision. The Newport subdivision is actually not too far from me. It's about 20 minutes away, and it's in Crosby, Texas. Okay, and so what Newport subdivision is probably known for people who would know nationally is it was inspired for the making of the Poltergeist film.
Is the idea of it, yes.
Yeah. So basically, the gist of the story is that this land used to be an old plantation, and so there was a cemetery there called Black Hope Cemetery that were predominantly Black people that were buried there. Majority of them were slaves. And what happened was the developer who came in decided to go ahead and remove the tombstones and not exhume the bodies. And so they just built over, the cemetery. Now, I mean, when I looked at the map, I think it was like 2 blocks that they built over.
I'm going to mute you for a second.
All right. And then there's one main popular street is called Poppets Way. And it's a dead end. And at the dead end, if you walk into the woods, there's still part of the cemetery that hasn't been touched. I mean, there's a lot of foliage out there and everything. But supposedly, this is a very haunted place, and people who have lived here are like lived in that area, that location. I think most of them in that street died of cancer. They got cancer. There's actually a book out called Black Hope Cemetery that was written by the people who actually lived in a house right there, at the end of the cul-de-sac or at the end of the street. And y'all should definitely pick it up and read it. It's pretty interesting. But I actually did go over there. I want to say about 6-7 months ago, and I used the Haviland Nicola, which is a device that I created. It's like it's like a souped up spirit box, but I use this frequency called the Haviland Nicola frequency that I innovated. And so you listen to this frequency and you get a tone to it, but also too, what it does, it gravitates all the intelligent energy and the residual energy in that area. And you can even do it remotely and pick up things from somewhere else. And so it was really interesting. We had a cat ball. We had the cat ball about, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 feet away from the device, which was sitting on top of the hood of my car, and the cat light ball was actually on the curb. Okay, so when things would come in, especially when there would be an energy burst, like poof, like that, then that ball would start lighting up,
cool.
And there's like scientifically no way that could happen, unless that ball was like really near it, because speakers do, when there's, a lot of, if it's high decibel, you know what I'm saying, high frequencies and all that, it will, disperse air.
Yes.
There's just no way that could have happened. So, but yeah, that's a very haunted place, and I'll just let JC take it from there.
So basically, I lived in there. Oh my gosh, how long did I live there? Like a decade, something like that. Toilets flushing by themselves, black figures at the foot of your bed. Let's see. Just if you like, it's kind of like Amityville Horror without being killed. It was pretty wild. You would get your name called. I used to get my butt spanked because I would be like the is my parents say I'd be at like the foot of their door laughing and stuff or whatever, and be like, hey, go to bed, go to bed. And then all of a sudden, like, I would get spanked. Like, it was weird. It was just the weirdest thing. My parents would spank me because basically at the foot of the bed there, not for the bed, but at the door, like they would say I'd be sitting at the door and everything like that. My cousin stayed the night one night and said he would never stay a night ever again. Like, ever again. And I said, what happened? He said, I thought you came to my room and was talking to me. And then I talked back to you, and like, it was like you were never there. I've got, like, I could write books and books on that place. When we dug for our swimming pool, it was really interesting. We found chicken bones. We were in section 10. Hold on one second. Yeah, we were in section 10. And, and like, so, and the thing about it is I did get sick a lot there. I did, and everything. And I mean, this is where I get torn to the idea basically between hauntings and ufology, because like we would always camp outside and everything, and during the summertime, and we would see things like my buddies, like growing up, we would see things out there and everything. We would camp out there and see like the lights. And I understand we did have an airport, not far away, right. But we're talking about stuff that like drone technology, kind of like, we see that kind of stuff. It wouldn't be like airplanes or anything like that. It would be like, I'm going to go L or something like that. I mean, my history goes all the way back to my dad and actually my mom. I mean, they saw stuff when they were younger. There was like this one incident where my parents were going from a baseball game and my dad, hold on.
Now, I'm wondering too, because like he's telling me this story. So I'm wondering like how long, you know what I'm saying? Like, are these hauntings, I don't know if his parents lived there. Hey, when he gets back on, yes, I'll ask him that if like, if he actually grew up.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Did you grow up in that neighborhood?
Yeah, I grew up in section 10.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
Well,
okay. So with your parents,
I grew up
right?
in Baytown. I grew up in Baytown, off of Garth and everything like that in Briarwood. But however, like we jumped around and finally we moved into Crosby.
Right.
I want to say I was like 8 or 6 or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, I grew up in section 10. But let me tell you a little quick story real fast about that too. We lived in a cul-de-sac.
Right.
And when we lived in a cul-de-sac, every single one of the houses, and I could tell you the people, I don't know if they would come back on the air or they come on the air and they'll tell you about it and stuff, but I had friends that in all those houses, they all experienced hauntings. Now here comes the crazy part. There's two people that I grew up with, and they died really, really young, and they died violent deaths.
Oh,
really?
Yes. Oh, I got cold chills about that. Ooh.
Now,
Anyway,
was it in the subdivision or was it outside the subdivision?
Outside the subdivision. Later on, my friend Justin, anyway, he died falling asleep. He was working at TDC, and he died coming back, and he went into a ravine and everything and died. Yep. And he was only 20-something years old. And my friend Melanie, she was it's a very sad situation. She was at college in University of Houston, and she ended up being murdered. So, wow. But not just that. What I'm about to tell you is wild. There was another incident that happened, and it recently happened, and it's wild because it's right there. And we called that place cursed because it was just weird. Anyway, the whole entire, what was it? I lost my mind there. Anyway, so going back to it, my neighbor, it would be her grandson. Yeah, her grandson got out. And I get fear of this because my son is 2 years old.
Right.
And the sad part is that this 2-year-old got out and drowned into a pool.
Oh, man.
In that area. Now get ready to hear this. That pool, I'm not sure it was my pool, the pool that we had, because I went on Google Maps or Google Earth, and I looked, and there is no other pools besides that pool that we had.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know. It's coincidental and stuff like that, and
Well, I mean, I know that the Haneys, who owns a house over there off of Poppus Way, who actually wrote the book Black Hope Horror and all that.
So
I know that the
yeah.
way they found out that there were bodies is that they were digging to put a pool in, and they ran up on 2 graves.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is mind blowing. I'm about to tell you, my sister actually stayed the night in that house.
Oh wow.
She was friends with the girl, like growing up. Yeah. This is the wild part. So my sister, she actually fears aliens. She has the fear of aliens. It's crazy. Anyway, but long story. That's another story. But anyway, but the thing is that like she stayed the night in the house and said nothing happened when she was there. That's the thing about it. That's why I was blown away. I was like, what? Nothing happened. And then they used to have the sign on the door. It said, "We aren't afraid of no ghosts." I don't know if they still have it or not, but after that fact, after they moved out, some other people had moved in. And when they had moved in, apparently things were not good. That's what I heard. So it could have been basically the energy level of the people, So I don't know. That's the thing about it. And I'm not talking about the ones, I'm sorry, not the ones that basically, not the Haneys, but the people after the Haneys. That's who she.
Now, it's interesting, that you said that, because I had my own personal experiences there, like over in Newport subdivision.
Yeah.
And I remember going to see a friend of mine named Wendy. She was having a birthday party years ago at her house, and she lives in Newport. And I had to leave to go run an errand to go get something. And I want to say maybe it was Diamondback or whatever it's called.
Poppet's Way.
No, not Poppet's Way. No, it was like going out of the subdivision.
Okay.
Yeah. And so this subdivision's huge, okay? Like it's really big.
It's big.
I don't think I've ever seen a subdivision this big before. And they're still building out on there.
Yeah.
After the 70s, 80s or 70s, they're still building.
Yeah.
So yeah, but broad daylight, I'm driving, and they cut some trees down, I guess, because they were gonna build, a building or whatever. And I saw a woman, a black woman who was in the nude, who was naked, and she had this bonnet on. Okay.
Right.
So like I knew right then and there that she wasn't she wasn't real. You know what I'm saying? Like this, I know I seen a ghost. I seen a spirit.
Oh,
and she ran to the trees, and then she ran out in front of me, and then before she even got to the other side, she just kind of dissipated.
So you want to hear a crazy story? It's away from Newport, but see, I work in law enforcement. Well, let me rephrase that. Let me tap that. I work for law enforcement. Okay, so I was in their car the other day, and I was talking to one of the officers. He's like, "Hey, JC, you're into that weird stuff, right?" And I'm like, "Not really, no, not at all, Is that, So he heard my sarcasm. He's like, no, I've seen some stuff on your pages. I've heard about you. I'm like, yeah. I was like, what happened? He goes, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. And the car share, he looked a little spooked out too. And I was like, what happened? Well, apparently about 2 weeks ago, off of Aldine Bender, and there's another road I'm not going to say, because I don't want everybody running off to it. Anyway, so off Aldine, close to a Chevron, they got a phone call that there was a hit and run. Like he basically, he called and he said, he called and dispatched it for a hit and run, but it was the driver that called. And he's like, hey, I hit something or hit somebody that ran across the road, and he ran towards the gas station, into the gas station, and I can't find him. I went in there, and he had to be hurt. And I looked at him and was like, man, you're messing with me, right? And he's like, no, I'm serious. So he showed me like a little video, of the car, and where the car was like dented in. The car was dented in, and they still couldn't find anything. They went inside. They went inside, they pulled video, and there was nobody ever in that ghost, ever in there. So they walked outside. The officer did. Ooh, cold chill again. The officer walked outside again. He looked out. He looked, and both of them looked down, and there's one of those crosses for the the road.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently someone had gotten hit there a long time ago. And that's
Wow.
where he asked the guy at the Chevron station. He's like, "Oh yeah. We've had stories about that, but never a dent into a car. Never a dent into a car. So yeah, that's the wild part. I just thought that was interesting.
And like especially in that area, like in North Houston area. I mean, okay, so Houston's a really big one. Okay, like
I've been there
years
ago.
Now it's bigger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's
I mean, they're constantly building on it. I mean, it takes probably an hour in 10 minutes just to get to north side of Houston. I mean, south side of Houston.
It's great.
The north side of Houston and east and west. And so up in North Houston, if you're not like in the subdivision of like the Woodlands and everything like that,
right,
you got a bad spot, okay? And that bad spot over there that's where a lot of crime happens, and drug deals go wrong, people get murdered, they find people in ditches. Yeah, people burning their cars. I mean, yeah. So so I wouldn't be surprised in that area.
But that was interesting. I mean, I could go on and on about Newport. I mean, we could totally make a huge podcast just like Newport, But the thing is that like there was so much that happened at that house. I could go on and on about it. And that's the thing about it. One of my friends, Pete Haviland, who passed away for COVID, he told me a long time ago that basically it wasn't hauntings that I go into. It basically it's attracted. So I actually did a big research thing on this for a while, and I found out a lot of people that are haunted, they're haunted not because of the house. It's haunted because of attraction, possible frequency or possible a thing like that. So and they've actually found that like when people like have like tragic events and stuff like that, which we've a lot of people know this already, but tragic events, that their mind is more open. Well, it's open to more of the alpha and the beta frequency waves, and they've actually found this out through EEGs and everything. So what makes it where people can actually see further into things, meaning that thus you could possibly see hauntings or see the whatever dimension or entity or whatever. That's the thing about it. And that's where, a lot of people, I think, and I'm not going into like the awakening status, but I believe people are waking up now and they're starting to see more things, especially with UAPs. I have three, I think it's 3 ideas what these UAPs are. And
why don't you explain, JC, why don't you explain to the audience what UAP means? For the people who don't know.
Okay, so hold on. Identified aerial phenomena, and you have also USOs. Well, unidentified submersible object, or they call them, or whatever. And there's other names for them. So right. I don't know if you saw lately. I mean, you saw on TikTok and stuff. And actually, I talked to people on TikTok Live and like right there, you could see them, they have the video camera, and you're like, hey, look, the light's going into the water. Like, there's no more evidence than basically seeing that. Like, hey, the light's going to the water live on TikTok. I'm asking questions. I'm like, hey, do you have a green screen behind you? Do you have this behind you? I'm very skeptical, and very, very skeptical of things, because like in hauntings, I've seen where people basically have called TikTok and stuff, and that's very, very. What was that? Oh, anyway.
That was me.
Oh, they called us out whenever I used to be part of a paranormal group for a long time. very dedicated one, and we would get called out, and then they would try to think it was a dog and pony show or something like that. So
Right.
I watch out for skeptics big time, and I used to not be a huge skeptic, and I'm very skeptical now. Like if I see something in the sky, UAP, the first thing I'll do, and I tell everybody this, go look on Flight 24 radar. Go there right whenever you see that thing in the sky. And the other thing is, I can send it to you, Chris, but it's a picture, and it's a picture of different lights in the sky that you see with these planes and stuff and everything. And it's a great reference, because if you see like 8 lights in the sky, that's not normal. You don't see 8. You'll see like 3. You'll have a red and a green blink and a white in the background, but you won't see it where basically it's a triangle and it blinks like that. And that right there is TR3B technology, which you can go on Google right now and you can go look up TR3B technology. And I have also resources that there is such thing as that. I'm not going to give my resource on that because they work for a company that, we're not going to get into that. Anyway,
absolutely.
But long story short is that we have this technology, and these UAPs that you're seeing in the sky it's government. It's part government, and on top of that, is it aliens? I think if aliens really wanted us to know that they exist, they would show their faces. It would happen. It wouldn't just be like, oh, hey, here I am, guys. It would be just like that. But if they did that, again, just basically just coming out and be like, just, hey, look, I'm an alien. That would freak out the masses. The masses would go for guns and weaponry, because we've been conditioned to that. Now, if you want to hear something really wild, and I encourage everyone in the world to go look at this. Go look at Ra in Egypt, ancient Egypt, and take the headdress off of Ra. Everybody's like, oh no, Ra, that's part of Ra. That's part of Ra, Take that wolf or whatever, I can't remember what it is on there. Take that off. And they actually have what it is. I don't know if I can share it. Hold on, I'll show you. Hold on.
You guys, there's also an app called Flight Aware that'll show you traffic.
Oh, really?
I have that one.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll get back to the Jersey thing, but I just want y'all to see this. And once you see this, you won't come undone from your mind. And what I mean by that is, like, I did a test. And I'm a big psychology person. I like to be psychological, test people. That's the thing about it. So with Ra, if you look at Ra, the Egyptian god, and understand I am a Christian, and anybody's religion, I understand and everything, but this right here, once you see it, it doesn't come undone. As soon as it comes up. Come on. Oh, there it is. So I'll just do it this way. So this is Ra. It was Ra. There you go. Perfect. This is Ra.
Mm-hmm. It's like a bird, almost.
Take the headdress off. Do you see the eye right there?
Mm-hmm.
If you turn it, you see that, right? That's an elongated skull, kind of like an alien gray, they would call it. Now, I want you to see this. Alien gray to the side. And I showed one of our officers, and he was like, oh my God, you're right, I can't unsee this. To the side, right?
Right.
Hold on. So I'm pull Safari up on this other one. And it even shows the technology with Ra and the ancient Egyptians. And I've been studying that since I was really, really, really young. And the thing about it is, if you're basically pulled to something like that, that means basically there is a reason behind it. Right. So here we go. And here we go. This is actually from one of the pyramids. So if you see it, dagnabbit. Okay, so if you see from there, can you see it?
Yeah.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you put that side by side next to an alien gray skull, Do you see where the eye is right there?
Mm-hmm.
Take away the other part of it. If you don't see it, it's understandable. But you take that away. Here we go. You take it away. Here we go. You see an elongated skull.
Yes.
Yes,
Can
I
you
can
see
see
it
it now. Yes.
You don't really see it? I mean,
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay. So yeah.
Man, never even thought about that. That's interesting.
I had never ever.
So if you start going looking at technology and the ink of life and everything like that, and you start looking at different things, the Egyptians were basically them. And basically, if you look at the movie Stargate and you go further into that, it could possibly be that Stargate. The reason why we come up with these ideas in these movies, whatever, are possibly because it's manifested. It could have happened. You know, that's the thing about to think about.
True.
Well, I
It's
mean,
a true thing.
from what I remember, like learning about, Egyptian culture, basically more on a theological sense, is basically that, the Bible, basically, part of the Bible was inspired and originated from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, you know? And then it was just manifested because it was hieroglyphics. And then, of course, people went and changed to Latin, and then went to English and so forth. But but also too, what I understood about a little bit about Satanism too as well. It goes
Yeah.
back to the African Egyptian culture, of Egyptians. So that's why I say, what about a few sessions ago, a few episodes ago, about how you have, God and the devil basically coming from the same foundation,
Right.
of spirituality, because you have to have good and evil to balance. You just
Yeah.
can't have all good. I mean, it's a scientific fact that you have to have balance.
Right. You do, and you do,
And-
and you do. Um. So let me give you a little backstory real fast. Also, when I was in Camp Pendleton, and the fires of Pendleton, which all these people, the California fires, man, I pray for them. That's
yeah, me
pretty
too, definitely.
Yes.
pretty wild, and everything. But anyway, so we were back. I guess I can give like a little area look, a weapons station. I'm just gonna say that. Back there, and it was about 10 miles past that. Anyway, the fires were really bad. I got lost in the back roads, and I had two other buddies with me. And I go, "What the heck is that ahead of us?" I go, "That's not the fire. I mean, that thing is like, I mean, it's lit up." And we went out there, and what blew my mind was the other day in London. I believe it was London, where that UAP just like landed in the middle of the airport. Let me look it up. I think it was London, and
I think it was, or somewhere near London.
yeah. So
I may be wrong though.
that same exact object, the same exact. I wish I had a camera back then to do that. To take, cause I carry a camera everywhere I go now, and I was like, oh my god, what is that? What is that? And all of a sudden, it was just sitting there and it hovered. And it was hovering. And I looked at my two friends behind me, and I was like, what the heck is that? He's like, dude, we need to get out of here. Get out of here. I got back to base. I kid you not. And my captain was walking by my car. And he goes, what the heck is that on your car? And I go, what is that? He goes, there's a bullet hole.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
I think we lost him for a second.
He'll come back. They always do.
He's driving.
Houston is bad. Like, you can be driving, and especially on I-10, and there's just one dead spot, and you just drop off. But you come back, so hopefully he'll come back soon. And,
He will.
And so like that. I mean, he has great, like stories and information. And
Yeah, he sounds like it.
yeah, and let me tell you.
Have you ever investigated with him? Just curious. Just
You know
curious.
what? Actually, no, I have not investigated with him. I investigated with Pete Havlin
Mm-hmm.
and Tom Kennedy in the group and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
but we've never crossed those paths of working together. Now we do talk a lot about frequencies and all that, and
You
you
can
know,
tell you guys are familiar. Yeah.
yeah, we're nerds.
So am I. So it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Oh,
and
here he comes. I think. Yep.
You back? I had someone call in
Come
and it
on.
kicked me off.
nah, it's okay. It's all good.
All right.
Perfect timing too, right?
Yeah, we were
So
just
anyway,
talking crap about you, like, when you're gone.
Yeah.
So it's all
Now
good.
on all my shows, I always have gremlins, just so everybody knows.
yeah,
Always. Yeah.
it was like a little small bullet hole and everything, and I was like, no. It's like, yeah, and it was. So, and then I was told, like, hey, did you go blah 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 blah? And I was like, yeah, I did go over there, and this was from a captain, and he told me, you don't need to be being over there. And I go, why is it that the cell phone signal drops out? So I told him. And he goes, oh, those are reactors. And that's all he could tell me. That's all he could tell me. And that's all I really could tell you. But the thing about it is that, like, I've had other stories where other people have told me the same different things. And when that thing landed in London and it dropped down, I was like, that's the same thing. So I had someone finally come out and tell me what it possibly could have been. It was like, it's a drone recon, like an orb, like you're seeing now, like these UAPs you're seeing now. And you do know that gravitational propulsion has basically been studied since the 1950s, right? A lot of people don't know that. And they're like, oh, gravitational propulsion engines are coming out now. And that's one of the biggest things that if you go look it up right now, it's like it's a hot cake. So, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
You froze.
Oh, did
Hold on.
we?
Yeah,
Oops.
that's fine. There you go. All right. Yeah. So hotcakes. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's wild. Gravitational propulsion engine. So you do know that the guy
I
left a
always have gremlins.
manifesto.
I joke you not. Always.
So I recently have found out that that guy that basically Trump Tower. I haven't got to read the manifesto yet, but I've heard news report, like little full small different things from little sources, everything that this manifesto was left behind at that Trump Tower bombing guy. Whatever. I got my notes right
Right.
here. Let me pull my notes up. Hold on. Apologies.
Now, this guy was active in the military, correct?
Yes. He was active. That was the crazy part.
And he was
Um,
a Trump supporter. That's what
yeah.
freaked me out. Like the whole my thing is I would look, man.
So
I would expect
his
this from
name was
someone who was
Livenberger, and
yes.
he sent an email to like his captain or his commanding officer or whatever it was about basically Chinese gravitational drones. So why would someone with Chinese gravitational drones send an email and then blow up a Trump Tower? I mean that sounds like something like I wouldn't blow myself up, you know? And it goes down to the point is like things I know is that like if you know too much and you say too much, and like I was told in the military, you know so much, you say too much, they can silence you, and they will. That's the messed up part. Um, I know it
Mhm.
for a fact. Like I know it way for a fact, and it's scary because there's so many people I've talked to, and these people coming out and talking and everything like that. Um, if people haven't read it yet, and it's Imminent by Luis Elizondo, that book is to the T everything you want to know, like everything and anything you want to know about these UAPs. Um, like I said, I do lightning photography, and plasmoids is one of my big things that I see from these lightning storms and stuff. And it's really wild whenever you see one, and I've got pictures of it, and it goes across the sky. And I understand it was a time lapse, and there's a plane that goes across the sky, there's a bird that goes across the sky, and then
Right.
all of a sudden there's a plasmoid, it goes across the sky. And when I say plasmoid, it's like it goes bloop, bloop, and then it goes takes off. But here's the funny part: it does not leave that point that point where it stopped at. It stays right there, and you'll see it. It's like a little dot. It's like doot, doot. And then if you slow it down enough,
Hey,
hold on 1 second. If you
JC.
slow it down enough, it looks exactly like a ship. And let me tell you, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what? This was like several years ago. I decided to do some nighttime photography. And I was trying to do, time lapse photography, just try to like
Mm-hmm.
capture the moon, or not the moon, but the stars and all that, because that was the time when my damn camera was new, so it was
Right.
the time where that's where they had like like the highest ISO where you can see
Exactly.
galaxies and everything like that. So
Yep.
I decided to use it one night, and I just purchased this time lapse thing to put on my camera. And so as I'm out there doing it, I noticed that it was getting dewy. There's a lot of moisture in there and everything. So I stopped. But when I went over the video, it was weird because, and maybe it was a plasmoid, but it like made a triangle. So it was like here, 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 and then it did that. And I was trying to figure out like, how could it capture that if I'm doing time lapse? You know what I'm saying? Because when you do time lapse, like I just assume, because I don't do time lapse much, even though I'm a photographer, that there's breaks. You know what I'm saying? So if there was like a UFO that was flying across, you're not going to catch it. You know what I'm saying? If it's flying, because that time lapse, you're taking time, every 3 seconds. So my thing is, if I was doing it every 3 seconds, how am I seeing, this light making a triangle?
Right. So
You
let me show you some videos, or not video. Let me show you a picture real fast from this iPad. Next time we do this, I got to be more organized with my computer in the other room. Like I said, I got a 2-year-old and I got a 9-year-old, and they're loud, and that's why I'm in my car.
Hey man, I get it.
I will definitely get it figured out for y'all. Let's see. Because, like I said, I got tons of material for you.
Dude, man, I cannot believe your daughter's 9 years old. Do you not remember when I told you, 2-3 years previous? I was like, hey, you know what? You're going to have a kid. You're going to have a girl.
Right.
And look what happened.
So, right. That's what happened. All right. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull it up. So, I have a friend of mine who, this is going to sound really weird. Like, we never met. I'm going to say we never met. We've only talked. You remember like in X-Files, they had like, Mulder had those friends where like, hey,
yeah,
I talked to you on the phone, but you don't ever meet me. If you ever meet me, here you go.
Right.
So this guy was the same way, because he was feared. He was scared out of his wits and mind. And so what happened was, he turned around. I haven't talked to him since December, and almost about December, like early December. And last time I talked to him, he wanted to meet up, and he told me that he would never ask me to meet up. So it's kind of weird. It was really weird. I was like, I'm just gonna call him R. So anyway, R, he gets in touch with me from a friend, one of my alias friends, and everything like that. Anyway, and he was dropping fiber optic lines or something like that out in the desert by military places. And he started sending me all these pictures. This is before the New Jersey drones. This is for all that stuff. But it's little things like this. This is what gets me. Like this whole New Jersey drone blew up, and then all these other drones. And then if you go, there's another good app also, not to jump off of it, called, oh my God, what is it called? The one for, it tells you all the UFOs in the area that have happened in the past, or UAPs, sorry. UAPs that have happened in the I'll look it up in a minute. I have it. Anyway, it tells you all the recent. And it's really crazy when you look at it. The whole thing's like lit up like a Christmas tree, and it's like blink, 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 blink. Yeah, I kid you not. And it's all from the past month to now.
Oh, wow.
That is the wildest. I was like, what? And then I'm also part of like a UFO network on Facebook. And in my area, it's like blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. And so, and you don't see that in my area. I do have an airport maybe about 5 miles away from me. But the thing about it is, I'm always looking the other direction away from that airport and how those lights will be. But anyway, let me show you really fast here. Let me see if I can pull this up. I'm trying to think of that app, that UFO app. Hold on. I'll find it for you in a minute. But this is if you're ever interested, and if anybody's ever interested, this is infrared photography. This isn't my photography. I'm getting my camera. I have another camera that's being modified. My other camera got messed up, so I don't have any pictures offhand. Pictures from like a long time ago, but this is from off the internet. So basically, that's basically taking a full spectrum your camera, so you can basically shoot astrophotography like really good.
Oh wow!
So this is what it looks like, and you go into Photoshop, bring that red down. It's that. So this is actually really good if you want to hunt UAPs. I kid you not. Like whenever I had my old camera, you would see things in the sky, and they would go by and they look like birds, but they're not birds. That was the wildest thing. Hold on, let me see here.
I know how to make it infrared.
Well, I know too. I know I can rip them. I can rip a camera apart in a minute.
Yeah. I can make a GoPro in infrared.
You can do that. Yep. There we go. All right. So this, come on, was in December. So I set up myself every night for a week in December to watch these little drones and UFOs out there. And this is what I caught. I'm trying to get to the good one. There's a bunch of them. Here we go. So this is out in New Jersey.
Wow.
So if you look at it,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's really cool when you see the big ones like that and they start laying eggs. When I say laying eggs, they lay orbs. The orbs pop off of them. Like, it looks like a flare, but it's not a flare, because a flare would basically, it would come, it would flare, and it would just drop down, right?
Right.
This basically flares up, or it comes up like that, and then all of a sudden it goes like this, and just shoots off. So what technology is this? I believe that you're using gravitational propulsion engine technology. That's the thing about it. And what's wild about it is that, let me read that part of that manifesto. On December 31st, Sam Shumate, an intelligence officer, Chief Warrant Officer 2, retired from the U.S. Army, received an email allegedly sent by Matthew Levensberger. This is from Reddit, by the way, who would later, Reddit, but I'm not going to give source, because let's see, be identified as the author of detonation of the Tesla Cybertruck Trump Tower the following day. In the disturbing documentation, Levensberg boldly states, "What I'm about to send you will change the course of humanity." In the email manifesto, Matthew Levensberger makes a series of statements, various covers, about topics related to national security and military operations. But the most striking part of the email comes when the whistleblower addresses the issue of drones in the United States. Levensberger claims that China is responsible for the recent wave of drones over U.S. soil, detailing the U.S. gravitational propulsion systems in aircraft. He emphasizes that, according to his information, Chinese operations have been escalating and drones been launched from the submarines in Atlantic. So that makes sense, because I've seen the videos where those drones go straight into the ocean. Equipped with high stealth capabilities, unlimited payload capacity, and these drones pose a significant threat, being able to operate in an almost undetectable manner. And that makes sense, because let me show you. I have a video, and this is what really blows my mind, is that on this video, come on, it's technology that will just blow your mind. Like, it's just
Dude, technology already blows my mind.
It got taken
Some of the
off.
things.
This
Yeah.
got taken. This already got taken off of TikTok. You possibly cannot find this anymore. I've tried
Oh,
to
wow.
find it. So what do? I record it.
Me
So
too.
So when you see stuff, do you ever hear like a noise?
I get ringing in my ears. Really, really loud ringing in the ears. I get headaches, ringing in the ears, and everything like that.
And just to let you know too, he's also psychic.
So
He is.
well,
Yeah.
we will address that another time. I don't want to sound crazy because people, when they see, oh, he's psychic, you know, it's not. I don't call it psychic. I study what's called RV, which is remote viewing, and
Yes.
it's when people hear that, they look at you like oh my God, you know, get the stakes, you know, whatever. But the thing is that like I've used it for good, really good things and everything like that, and I've tried to show a couple people, and I've had them come back and tell me, and I'm not a master at it at all. I'm not at all. Like I can, it's when I'm kind of like the point being at the beginning level, I guess you could still say, but I still like, it's like whenever you know when someone passes away in your family or that song on the radio or you know, here's one for instance, it's gonna blow your mind. I was changing my 2-year-old, not 2-year-old, sorry. He was newborn almost on the table, and this is the wildest thing. I had that ringing in my ears, right, and I was changing him, and all of a sudden he jumped off the table. Like he pushed himself that far before the ground. I caught him. When I caught him, I wasn't even thinking. Like it was like a reflex. Like where'd that come from? You know, that's
Right.
the wildest thing. Like,
Right.
where's that come from? Like I get something thrown at me and I'm like, you can catch it? Well, how can you catch it? So I've had people where I've closed my eyes and they've thrown a ball at me and I've like caught it like that. And that's how the blind see. That's the thing about it. It's how the real. I've talked to some people that have lost their vision, and the thing is, yes, it's. I'm not saying that's how the blind see, but I've had people tell me, yes, that's how they can visualize and see things. They can hear it, and they can feel it in their head. So the thing about it is, it's a lost technology. It's a way lost technology. I don't want to go deep into it. I found my wife's wedding ring like over 10 times. She's lost it, and I was at work, and I've used it for that. I had an officer, and he begged me to take it away. And I'm like, why is that? He's like, I'm trying to use it for my detective cases, and I keep seeing all this bad stuff. I try to use it for someone that ran away and everything, and that's where it gets scary. That's where it gets real scary because you start feeling. And it gets to the point where you can, if you're not careful, it's energy levels and everything like that, frequency, and we can get deeper in that
No,
later.
absolutely. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know, JC, I remember you sending me a file in which I actually found it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And the Gateway. And
The Gateway
so
Experiment, yeah.
yeah, the Gateway Experiment. So they have Wave 1 that's, you know, out on YouTube. And I listened to it. I think I'm like on the fourth CD or like the fourth part of it. And so I have a really good friend of mine, and her mom was sick, you know, and she was basically, you know, she was about to die. She flew to France, and she had to come back for Christmas to be with her daughter and her family. And so we're like conversing, you know, on Facebook Messenger, and all of a sudden I see, you know, like a white wall and like these large windows, you know, and I can see the planes and everything. And I was like, hey, I keep on seeing like, you know, this big window, which I mean, come on, you're in an airport, there's gonna be big windows, there's gonna be planes, you know. But I just kept on seeing like the white, and I kept on seeing like a light fixture or whatever. And so she takes a selfie, and here she is, you know, sitting, you know, by this big old huge window, and part of that window, you know, the wall on the side is white, which was weird, you know. And then like after that happened, I got up. I remember, you know how like when things pop in your head as a psychic medium, you know, and
Yes.
sometimes you fixate on an object. I don't know why I was fixating on the tub in our bathroom because you can see it right from my desk area. And I never met her mom, you know, and I heard her say to me, you know, tell, you know, tell Mary Lise don't come. Like, don't come,
Right.
you know? And she showed me a picture of her daughter in a red dress. I didn't know what that was. But come to find out, her mother passed away when she was waiting to board the plane back to the
Oh my God.
back to the States.
Oh no.
Right. She passed away and then she went back to France, you know, to take care of her mom, you know, her and her brother. So that remote viewing does work. You know what I'm saying? It pops up at the least thing. But I mean, I've been doing remote viewing,
Well,
you know,
you gotta
before
be
that,
careful.
but yeah.
You got to be careful. There's things you
Most
don't remote view. What I've been told, like you got to be careful remote viewing Antarctica, remote viewing military installations, stuff like that. Well, I'll tell you another little story. I remote viewed. Hopefully my phone don't die here. Anyway, I'm trying to charge it and it's not charging. So anyway, this happened last year actually. There was someone that was missing in my area. I'm not gonna say the area, but what was wild is that I asked the detective, can you tell me one thing? Like, well, you know, what was her name? And that was it. So I kept getting. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Stir of Echoes. It was a good movie. It's the Kevin Bacon. It's good. If you haven't watched it, it's a real good movie. Anyway, in Stir of Echoes, basically you kept getting little Easter eggs, you know, little things that basically go to the murder and stuff. And this is what really tore me up. It tore me up. It actually made me cry, made me upset. Is that there was a girl missing in our area, and I had a dream. I had a dream about her. I know nothing about this girl. Like, what the hell? Excuse my language, but what the heck? And I turned around. I was like, what is going on here? And that's when I went and I asked him. You know, when I had the dream, and I asked the detective. I was like, hey, this girl that's lost. You know, what was her, you know, full name and everything? Because I didn't know anything about it. Then they put flyers up, and then as I went by that flyer, kid you not, I went by that flyer at the Mexican restaurant, and I saw her. And all of a sudden, I told my wife, I was like, hey, we got to go for a drive. I went for a drive and went to this area. And I could just feel whatever the hell it was in that area. And then I was like, all right, she's not here, but something's really odd. So I went and I just closed my eyes. And I imagined I was in the woods, basically. And there was a shoe. I saw a shoe on the ground. And it was by a log. And it was in the woods. Well, I called them. It was really coincidence. When I say coincidence, I really mean that basically, you know, things happen for a reason. He called me up. I'm going to call him D, the detective. Not D for detective, that was his name. Anyway, he called me up. Hey, I'm having problems with my computer, blah, 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 right? I work in IT, by the way. So, anyway, I was like, okay, all right, what's going on? I was like, hey, I got a question for you. Did you ever find any leads on that girl? And he's like, yeah. And this is the thing about it. It's really hard to tell people, because if you tell people, one, you look like you're a suspect, or two, you look crazy. That's the bad.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause people don't understand it.
No, absolutely.
And they won't. And I stopped doing it for a bit after this because I was really upset. And he told me exactly the same thing that I saw. There was a purplish white shoe found. And this girl was like an autistic girl, whatever, and stuff. And she was missing from her car and all that. And they never found her. That's the thing about it. It was really sad. And I tried my hardest. And everything, that shoe was there. The log was there. Everything was put there. And I kid you not. I mean, anyone can remote view. Everyone has this ability.
No, absolutely.
I mean, and my daughter, for instance, she can do it. She just don't want to do it. But it's funny. Like, I put these cards down because kid's 2 years old, right? And my daughter 9. Anyway, put all these cards down, and she flipped. Before she flipped the cards, she was telling me what's on the cards, and I was like, "How you doing it?" She's like, "I can see it right here, Dad." And I'm like, hold on here. Like let's go look at the lottery tickets. But that's not how it works, and I hope everyone understands that. It's not how it works. It actually goes back to the idea of like not saying the idea of Bible and everything and Jesus and everything, but the disciples knew things before it happened.
Yes.
Think about it. That's
Right,
a technology. It's a technology,
Hey, well, JC, hey, we're gonna have to cut it off.
Awesome.
This is the end, but man, thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much.
I would love to have you on again.
So
I know you have so much. I think, did you just cut off?
Oh, there we go.
Are you there?
There he is.
All right. Hey, man, thank you so much for
definitely.
coming on. I definitely want to have you back on.
Yes, please.
So we can talk, more about different things.
I'll be more structured. I got to write some stuff out. My father, he's in the hospital right now. So
man, my prayers.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
and all that.
I'm just trying to get everything situated with that. So, but no, like he could go from hauntings to remote to that. I do, like I said, I know you're cutting this out, but like I do want to tell you one thing. Like frequencies do work. They do cure things. They
Absolutely.
do heal things.
Yes.
And if like you're interested, I mean, I'll come back and tell you about it, because you see me wearing glasses. I don't wear glasses. Like I'm not wearing glasses because I don't wear glasses since I was 16 years old.
Yeah. I used to wear glasses all the time. So
and then I have Chris trying. I'm gonna have Chris try out also what I did.
Yes.
Everything. See what
I need to do that because I have eye issues.
I see it.
I
Chris
have
sent it
night
to you,
blindness.
too.
I can't see at night. So yes.
What I'm talking about right now is hypnosis, and it works. It works. I do it almost every other night, and it's good stuff. So yeah, if y'all want me back on that, I'll let y'all know.
Absolutely.
Anyway, y'all take care and have a good one.
All
You
right.
have a good night. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
so
you too.
much.
Y'all have a good one. All right.
Hey
bye-bye.
guys, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm so sorry I didn't have a chance to give a shout out to Angie and Shane. Thank you for coming on. Richard, thank you so much. We definitely appreciate it. And so forth.
We got other folks watching, but a lot of them just don't type in. They just watch.
Hey, and that is okay.
Yeah,
that is okay because we enjoy you coming and watching our show. So thank you so much. And y'all have a great week and take care.
Yeah, take care. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank you so much, Gwen.
All right. You too. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.